Morning, everyone. Hope you are well. Final day of the week, and next week, I'm delighted to say we'll be starting 9:30 on Sunday and then 9 a.m. throughout the week. 9:30 on Sunday and 9 a.m. throughout the week. Okay, let's go. So today's learning is dedicated in memory of Leah Bas Faivel, Rav Yaakov Tzvi ben David Aryeh, Tzipor Feigal was Reuben Baruch, Paul Kazimir, Shalom ben Elali ben Bas Faivel from Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Caleb Bela Bas Henach, Yom Yochi ben Moshe Eliezer, Sarah Malka Bas ben Yomin, Shlomo Yechia ben Shua Levi, Avram Mordechai ben Moshe Katna, and Aryeh ben Shimon. Wish their families long life. So we were discussing about Bilam and we were discussing about Moshe, and we said that there are three characteristics of someone like Moshe, three like Bilam. We are meant to be of the students of Moshe and not like the students of Bilam, who was known for his wickedness. And let's just have a look. We're at the second part. Let's have a look at what we said in relation to Bilam. So we said Bilam would be somebody who, where is it? So had an evil eye. So we said that was somebody who only saw who only had a critical eye, right? Like a jaundiced eye, only seeing the bad in every person in every situation. Ruach Avoha, they're very arrogant, very haughty. The Nefesh Rachva, and they're expansive in their desire and their wants, and they have an unsatiable desire for self-gratification. In other words, it's all about the here and now. And therefore, the Mishnah goes on to say something which I found rather surprising. It then asks, well, what's the difference between the students of Bilam and those of Abraham? I mean, isn't it obvious? They're poles apart. They're living completely different lives. But the point being, if a person were to come along and were to see in this world a cursory glance at those which are following the Bilam path, they may say, well, listen, they look very, they look very important. There's a lot of self-grandeur. They're somebody who everyone seems to respect, and they seem to be living a very good life in this world. They don't, and they're very, very successful. So what exactly are they? Why wouldn't we want to be one of those students? And the answer is: are you looking at the long term or the short term? If you look at the short term, i.e. just this 70, 80, 90 years that you're in this world, then yeah, it looks great to be a student of Bilam. You are living it up, and it's all about self-gratification and about my wants, my desires, what I get out of life, how important I am. But we know that this world is just a prusdor, it's just a corridor to the next world. Ultimately, eternity, we spend, all of our lives in the next world. This world is just a stepping stone to the next world. And therefore, that's what the Mishnah goes on to say. They are, somebody who's evil, they look like they're enjoying and living a better life, but they're actually getting paid for the world to come in this world. In other words, every person, think about it. Good morning, Stan. Every person, right? Even somebody like Adolf Hitler, a Mussolini, a Stalin, whoever you want, any of the great demagogues and tyrants of this world, they all at some point did some good. I remember reading about Adolf Hitler, Yemach Shema, that he was very kind to a Jewish girl. It's on Aish HaTorah. You can find the article. It's astounding. They were neighbors in the same block. That's a different story. There was a girl that Hitler took a liking to, and she was invited to join him at some of the holiday vacations that he went on. And he was very, very kind to her. Then he found out that she was Jewish, and he still wanted to keep up the friendship. And his advisors and those that were high up in the Nazi party forbade him to do so. They said, it cannot be that you are the master of the final solution, and Deutsche über alles, right? And the Aryan society, right? And then all of a sudden, you have a special penchant, a special soft spot for this young girl that's Jewish, and therefore they pushed her away. But the point is, he was kind to her. And I'm sure there are countless stories about growing up before he became this evil incarnate. I'm sure that there were acts of kindness that he did, and therefore he needs to be repaid. And if he gets repaid in the next world, then the reward will be greater. It'll be eternal. Therefore, very often the Almighty judges people, and those which have done limited good things, but yet they are considered wicked, they will be repaid in this world for the next world, and therefore they are eating up, as it were, the next world in this world when they are enjoying the fruits of their labor. Whereas we, right, have the opposite experience. Very often you go through hardship, you go through angst, you go through any type of challenges and ordeals, and that can sometimes, when we go through extra challenges and ordeals, it is that we should receive an atonement for stuff that we've done in this world, so that ultimately we are in a better state to enjoy the next world. So that's why that Mishnah was so important, to spell out both the difference between the students of someone who follows the path of an Abraham as opposed to one who follows the path of a Bilam. Let's go on to the next Mishnah very quickly. Yehuda ben Tema Omer. Yehuda ben Tema says, he says, "Have az kaname." You're meant to be as bold as a leopard. Now that's a strange statement, right? Light as an eagle, swift as a deer, strong as a lion, to carry out the will of your Father in heaven. So clearly we are being illustrated through animals, the passion, enthusiasm, zest that we are meant to have when approaching our service of God. And in fact, we find in the Talmud there are sections that point out that we can learn from all of the animals various character traits. Okay, the character traits that we have, we could actually learn from ants, from all the different animals in the world. There is some characteristic, some natural instinct that they have, and that we could learn from. So these ones have been chosen by Yehuda ben Tema. Let's have a look and see what exactly he means. Okay, so the Mishnah says the first thing is that we're meant to be as bold as a leopard. In other words, that doesn't mean being haughty. It means that you're meant to have confidence. If you know that you are acting on behalf of the king, right, then you are going to make sure that nothing stands in your way, and that you are going to be confident, that you are going to have self-esteem, that you are going to be able to go out there and allow nothing to stand in your way to fulfill the king's wishes. That is the way we should be. We're not, we should be confident, have a spring in our step, knowing that what we are doing has tremendous impact and influence for eternity. The next one is Vakal Kanesha, be as light as an eagle. Now, what does it mean to be light as an eagle? What exactly would that mean in terms of service of God? I'm going to leave to you because we're short of time and I'm on the spot. I can't think. Ratz Katzvi, you're meant to run like a deer. So we know that there is great alacrity when it comes to a deer, and there's great alacrity when it comes to our service of God. We're not meant to be dragging our feet. We're not meant to be, with a krachs. Somebody once said, I remember who it was, Rabbi Lord Sachs, Zechrona Livracha. He once came to Woodside Park, and he said, why is it that in the previous generation, so many people, he said this, I remember in Woodside Park Shul, he said, why is it that so many people were religious, and yet a significant number of kids decided not to follow in that path? They had very religious parents, very committed parents, living lives of Torah mitzvahs. What went wrong? And he says, because it wasn't what they did, it was the way that they went about it. They lived life with a mentality of schwer zu sein a Yid, which was the Yiddish phrase for it's difficult to be a Jew. Now, it may have been difficult to be a Jew. They may have struggled to get work because you had to work on Saturdays, and therefore you had to give up your job and then start again looking for a job on Monday. It may have been with tremendous poverty. Nobody's judging them. But the attitude of not everyone, but some, that it's schwer zu sein a year, that it's so difficult to be a Jew. That either consciously or subconsciously was something that wore off and transferred to the kids. And the kids, some of them, seeing that, feeling that, sensing that, said, "That's not for me." A Yiddishkeit has to be something that we feel alive, that we feel excited about, passionate about. And if you don't, then that is something that can rub off on your kids. And we see it all the time. Our kids are so perceptive, and our grandkids are so perceptive. They know when we are going through the motions, be it taking them on a day out or doing an activity with them, and they know when we really want to be there. Are we really present, or are we, just going through the motions? That is what this is all about. And it's in relationships, it's in performance of mitzvot, it's in everything. We have to make sure that whatever we do, we are there 110%, and we give our all. And that is something which we are meant to emulate in terms of the deer. The next one, the Gibor Ka'ari. How are we meant to be strong like a lion? The lion is the king of the animal world, and we know that sometimes there are challenges in life. We face, for example, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. It tries, that voice inside us, the subconscious, the negative thoughts that come across us. We all have them. The apathy, the inertia, and it tells us, don't bother. It's not worth it. Why waste your time? Take it easy, or don't do that extra act of kindness or mitzvah, right? And the answer is, we're meant to be Gibor Ka'ari. We're meant to conquer our evil inclination. We're meant to take control of our lives. And in doing so, then we are going to be masters of our own destiny, making our own decisions rather than allowing our wants, our desires, and being seduced into living a life that isn't really us, but really being subject to the dictates of our hearts. Okay, so that's the approach we're meant to have. I'm going to have to stop there. I mentioned being sure, but next week will be more calm. We'll have more time. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom. I'll do the memorial prayers in shul, and wishing everyone well. Have a great day. Look after yourselves. 4 p.m. is Kabbalat Shabbat with the inimitable David Berman from Israel. Take care.